Welcome back to Streamline Investigations. It's Marvin speaking. We're just going to get into some news on missing Gus Lamont, who went missing in Australia. As of October 2025, should I say, a 4-year-old boy named August Gus Lamont is a high-profile missing persons case. High-profile people. He vanished from his grandparents' remote sheep station here in Yunta, South Australia, on September the 27th, 2025. He was last seen, Gus's grandmother last saw him playing in the sand outside the family homestead around 5 p.m. on September the 27th. What he was wearing at the time, his disappearance, Gus was wearing a blue long sleeve minion t-shirt, light grey pants, boots, and a broad brimmed grey hat. Location: the homestead is extremely isolated, located about 40 km south of Yunta on a 300 km northeast of Adelaide. The property is a sprawling 6,000 hectare sheep station. The search and efforts, extensive resources, a massive search operation was launched involving police, state emergency service volunteers, drones, infrared technology, police, divers, and Australian Defence Force personnel. Limited evidence. Despite the scale of the search, authorities found no trace of Gus other than a single-sized footprint that was discovered about 500 metres from the homestead. Scaled back after more than a week and based on professional survival expert advice, police made the heartbreaking decision to scale back the ground search on October the 3rd. The operation was transitioned from a rescue mission to a long-term investigation managed by the Missing Persons Investigation Section. So sad. It really, really is that you haven't been found at the present moment. Not suspicious. While investigators are considering all possibilities, police have stated they do not believe the disappearance is suspicious or that a third party was involved. Ongoing inquiries, the investigation remains open, with authorities vowing to continue pursuing all lines of inquiry. Locals have raised fears that Gus may have fallen into one of the main century-old unmarked mine shafts or wells that dot the rural landscape. We're going to get straight into a video that was updated basically between yesterday evening and today, people. But like I said, it is alarming, it is worrying, but we're just going to go into what actually people are saying.
Date on this little 4-year-old Gus missing from up in South Australia, Adelaide, there from his rural property. So now detectives have gone back there and they're looking at any other evidence they can find, because obviously he's now presumed dead. Yeah, it's very strange. You know, I see that they said there was no foul play. Now, I'm not saying there was or there wasn't, but this little kid's playing in a sandpit and then he disappears. You would think there would be footprints of him walking away. You know, you don't just vanish. You don't just vanish into thin air. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Again, there's really not a lot being said about it, just that he's vanished. I don't believe that. I believe there has to be foul play involved in this. And I'm not saying that it was the people that he was living with or anything like that, but for someone just to disappear into thin air, 100% there's foul play. There is no tracks of him walking off. They've really got nothing. And it's not like it's a bushy area. It's pretty flat. You would see tracks. Anyway, something to think about. Let me know in the messages what you guys think. Have a great one.
Interesting theory, what this man has said. So William Tyrrell disappeared 11 years ago, never been found. 19 days, no gave up on Cleo Smith. Gus was living with his grandparents. They were fostering him. The police dog lost his scent at the front gate. The dogs just kept stopping. If someone took him there, it would have been shoe prints for sure, or both, if he was walking to, or a car or bike tracks, if he was taken that way. I think he was missing well before they raised the alarm. Days before. Oh, wow. That's really, really interesting. When will we learn not to make assumptions? Remember Lindy Chamberlain. Remember the little boy in the Spider-Man clothes. I hope they found him safe and sound. Did the police check with that photo of him was taken? He has the same top on when he went missing. I'm wondering if it's just a rage bait of this point. There's people out there that would know what happened. They're probably not allowed to say anything, or if it will happen to them. Interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff. Look, it is a police investigation, and they are doing their best they can. It is odd that the dogs didn't go too far, and whereabouts where he went missing. What was odd? I mean, could have someone picked him up, but why there was no tracks? That's very, very odd. A car in the area, or someone that lured him away. It's odd. It really, really is bizarre. Someone know. I agree with this guy, John. Someone knows something. Let's move on. Going to move on to Kangaroo Jack.
This is a sad case, I tell you. A 4-year-old boy, little Gus, went missing in Yunta, which is a small country town in remote South Australia, probably about 40 minutes away from another town, Peterborough, which I've been to both the towns, and there's literally no action there. There's no... Very quiet, very remote in South Australia. And a lot of things don't seem right with this. It took them 4 days to release a photo of little Gus, and so they kept the public literally on the sideline. No one knew what they were looking for, if they were looking.
I didn't actually realise it took 4 days for them to release the photo. That's bizarre.
Or anything, to be honest with you. And what seems off about this is you're letting a 4-year-old play outside in a remote location, and it's just grandma and grandpa there. They took so long to reach out to local trackers to come out and help with the search. They've blocked the community from going there and searching. I've heard that there's hundreds of individuals volunteering and asking, can they go and help with the search? The police have just called it off. Something doesn't seem right. I'm starting to think that potentially young Gus wasn't even there in the first place. And it all leads to that, you know what I mean? You can't, yeah. I mean, you're making assumptions one thing, but, this little boy deserves to be found. So, and, they put all resources into finding that Desi Freeman. They fucking send the military, they send everything there to find old Desi, right? But they spend 5-6 days trying to find little Gus, and then they just throw the towel in. I think it's shocking. But they need to investigate thoroughly, because I believe there's more to this than what they're letting on, in my opinion. Hence why the police have gone back, and now they're talking to the nana and all that. I mean, you see the video of the grandmother. She doesn't look very distraught to me, if you want to know the truth. She looks very calm and collected. But yeah. Hope this little man is found.
Interesting stuff. I mean, everyone's analyses what people are like, what the family are like, the grandparents are like. I don't understand that. I'm pretty new to this case, so I'm going to have to dig a little bit deeper, to be honest with you. But like I said, it seemed like to me he did go out to play a lot, and they trusted him that he didn't go too far, and they'd keep an eye on him. Don't forget, they are obviously the grandparents and elderly, I'd imagine, but it's still shocking in that there's no sign of him, and that the dogs have got no scent of him, no blood, nowhere where he could have run into the bush. I was thinking could have been taken by some kind of animal, but no, because obviously there would have been tracks or blood or something like that. It's very, very bizarre, and I think people are asking a lot of questions. Because, they're looking for someone. I know it's a little 4-year-old boy, but you would want to show a picture as soon as possible. I would do it straight away if I had a kid that young. Danielle says, something's not right. I live in a small country town in New Zealand, and anyone goes missing, everyone gets a SMS telling us to be on the lookout with a full description. It kind of reminds me of the William Tyrrell, you know what I mean. Exactly my first thoughts. Another William just disappeared. Very dodgy. Exactly. Thank you. There's an immediate public awareness and appeal for search support in the community and its surrounding. Yeah. So why wasn't that done? You know, I know they obviously reported him missing, but you would have thought that the community would know straight away as well. They should have got the Aboriginal tracker in the first place instead of having police run all over. Run over the land before they came in. They would have got somewhere. I agree. Just want to see the replies on this. They did. He's the one who found that single boot print. After everyone has already trampled over everything, though, first call should have been First Nations who know the land. It took 3 hours for them to report that he was missing. Well, maybe they panicked and were looking for him and were calling people. 3 hours is a hell of a long time. You would have thought you would call the police at least in the first half hour. Well, 10 minutes to half hour. You would say that. They probably thought they'd find him. No one assumes the worst at first. Yep, definitely. Very strange. Someone else says they have to give up too soon. Have they, or do they know something? I will keep up with this news on that. It is interesting. It is a bit strange that they've got nothing on him where he could be or any trace of him. That is odd to me. But like I said, we can't just, pass the buck or blame people at the moment. We got to see what comes of it and what the police see, whether the police can work out where he is. Don't forget to subscribe to Streamline Investigations and my first channel, Streamline Entertainment. Thank you.